Thank you for being here on a Saturday. I know those days are precious to teachers, but we want to get an idea of who is here at the workshop. Um, so well, first, Ken and I will introduce ourselves. I see some familiar faces, so it's good to see you again. And I also see some new faces. My name is Debbie Henney, and I'm the curriculum director for the Foundation for Teaching Economics. I've been working for the foundation for 18 years, but I've been teaching for 27 years, and I spent that first 10 years of those of my teaching career in the high school classroom. After that, I worked for the Arizona Council on Economic Education as their executive director, and currently I teach economics at Mesa Community College in Arizona. And so my favorite thing is teaching economics and being able to do programs and writing curriculum with people like Ken. This program is one of those, the resources for this program, Ken and I co-authored, and we worked with an organization called the Fraser Institute, they have a program called the Realities of Socialism, where they have this is just one component of that, some teacher resources. In addition to, I'll show you their website and other resources that they have, but they employed some professors to write different books basically on each of these countries and their experiences with socialism. Ken and I have condensed those into usable pieces that you can use in the classroom and created some activities that you can do with students as well. And that we are going to share a selection of those today. So you'll get a little pieces, it's kind of some highlights, and then I'll give you an overview of the entire curriculum. You'll get access to all of it so that you can pick and choose what pieces fit best and where in your own classroom. So that's me. And Ken, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Ken Leonard, Associate Vice President with FT. Been working with them for a long time, doing workshops, writing curriculum. Enjoy very much teaching economics, exploring ways to more effectively teach it and to help you both improve your content and ways in which you're able to present it to your students. I'm sitting in Auburn, Washington, which is where I live. That's just between Seattle and Tacoma. So it's a cool, but at least to this point, dry and clear day up here, which is nice for us. As we go through the materials today, I want to re-emphasize that what Debbie said about this being drawn from materials developed by the Fraser Institute, because there is a wealth of information that they have put out. So as you get interested in this, or there are deeper questions about it, I encourage you to go on their website and take a look at what they have put together in terms of writing for this. What you have gotten is our condensed version that we think can work for you in the classroom. So looking forward to being with you today.
Okay. And I see a lot of you have introduced yourselves in the chat or told us where you're from. If you haven't done that yet, go ahead and tell us where you're joining from. You can share any interesting insights. Like I saw somebody said they're at a Boy Scout place with terrible connections, so they're on 2 devices. So, and Jennifer from our San Diego program, but Jennifer, I forgot where you were from, so you have to put that in the chat too. It was great seeing you in San Diego. So let's see where we have people. We have people from all over, it looks like. Southern China, Timothy Long. Where's Timothy? Raise your hand, Tim. There you are. So Timothy, why are you in Southern China? Are you there permanently visiting?
No, I teach at an international school here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what time is it where you are?
It's almost 1 a.m.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. But
I'm doing an all-nighter with you guys.
Here. We're going to use our Zoom tools to find out a little bit more about you guys. So if you'll look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll notice there are some reactions, like a little heart, I think, icon, and it says reactions. And so you can clap or, make a reaction. Go ahead and make a reaction if you are an elementary teacher. Do we have any elementary teachers in the group? See some thumbs. Okay, a few. All right. And if you fall into more than one category, that's okay. I saw a couple. Let me get my people box up so I can see them also a little better. Looks like they're, oh, there we go. Okay. And if we have any middle school teachers in the room, go ahead and show me a reaction. Okay, a few more middle school teachers. All right. And how about any high school teachers? High school teachers. Lots and lots of high school teachers. Love that reaction. Okay. And do we have any post-secondary teachers? Maybe you teach at the community college or university. Post-secondary. I see one. Okay. How about let's do time zones. So let's do, show me a reaction other than China. If you're in the Eastern time zone, show me a reaction. Okay, lots of you. So that's like lunchtime for you guys. Anybody in the Central time zone? Central time zone? Okay, quite a few Central time zone. How about mountains time zone? I'm in Mountain right now. In Arizona, we don't change times throughout the year. So part of the year we end up in the Mountain time zone and part we're in the Pacific. This part of the year we're in the Mountain time zone. So, and do we have any Pacific time zone? Show me a reaction. Ken's in the Pacific time zone. So it's breakfast time for us. I have my breakfast next to me. I'll eat it during Ken's presentation. I didn't get up early enough for breakfast this morning. All right, it's nice to meet all of you. One last thing I'm going to have you share in the Zoom chat is what are you hoping to get out of today's workshop? So go ahead and share in the Zoom chat. What are you hoping to get out of today's workshop? We got some new simulations to use in the classroom, ideas for explaining socialism, good, more information for my students. Oh, I like that. More ways to, let's see, to confront growing, it's moving so fast, discontent about political issues. I teach AP Euro. This will be great for that. Okay. Oh, this is helpful. So both for Ken and I, so we can take some time to look at those. All right. This is our agenda for today. We're going to do some activities, a combination of activities and the lessons. And we'll have a couple breaks in there. We'll do an extended break at 2:40 Eastern, whatever time that translates to you. We'll take about a 30-minute break. We're calling it a lunch break, but whatever it is for you, you'll have some time to get up, make phone calls if you need, stretch, go out and see the sun if there's sun in your area, those kind of things. And then we'll do a curriculum overview at the end. You'll get a link to a folder with all the resources, all the lessons and activities, and then we'll wrap up for the day. And I know if you're thinking right now, like my children who are like, you're doing an online workshop for how many hours? It actually goes by really fast and it's fun. And so you'll be surprised by the end. You're like, wow, we pack a lot in. And what we've done with the activities is some of them are lend themselves to virtual activities as well. And so those activities that we can conduct virtually, we're doing a lot of those. Those that are a little bit harder to do virtually, we'll explain those to you for the classroom. But you'll get to, that's why I appreciate that you have your cameras on throughout the day, because we want this to feel as much like an in-person workshop as possible. You'll be interacting with your peers. We'll be, participating in activities. It'll be an interactive workshop. So let me go ahead and switch slide decks. We're going to use a tool today called Pear Deck. And so what I need you to do is go to the website, just pull up a phone or your computer. You can open another window on your computer and you're going to go to joinpd.com. That stands for Join Pear Deck. You don't have to sign up or anything. I'll put it in the website, joinpd.com. And when you get there, it's going to ask for a code and you're going to enter the code. Type this in the chat too. BACCHX. It doesn't matter about capitalization or spaces. You enter those letters, it puts you in, you're going to see those slides on your phone or your other window that you're in. And you're going to be able to interact with those slides. So we're going to do a survey and you're going to be able to answer those survey questions. And if you ever get disconnected and need to get back in, you'll notice that in the top right corner of my screen, it shows the code BACCHX. It's also in the Zoom chat. I put it over there. You just go to joinpd.com and enter that code. So I'm looking for, let's see, about 37, and we've got 31 of you in there. That's awesome. I'm going to go ahead and start the class while the rest of you are, we have like 3 more that need to connect. Remember, you can use the Zoom, the instructions in the Zoom chat, or you'll see the code at the top right there. So this is a survey of 4 countries, and it was actually conducted by or like a research firm called Leger, a Canadian market research and analytics company. And what they were looking for, the issues they were looking at were, what is the support like for socialism? What definitions are people using of socialism when they talk about socialism? And what are people's willingnesses to pay for socialism? And they did this for 4 different countries. I snuck all their flags, pieces of their flags up here. So the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. So, and so what we're going to do is have you answer those same questions. And then I'm going to show you your results, and I'm going to show you the results of the survey at large. So in those 4 countries, you know, when you do, from probably studying statistics and stuff, when you do a survey, you need a sample size that's big enough that you can get results. They were looking for, they wanted to make sure they got people across different age demographics in all 4 countries so they could look at some of those conclusions. So here's question number 1, and it says, based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that fascism is the ideal economic system for your country. And you're going to choose on your slide now. This is where you can interact on Pear Deck on your phone or that other screen. Go ahead and choose strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And you don't have to click submit or anything. Once you answer it, the response is in there, and you could change it until I lock the screen. So I'm looking for just a few more answers. I'll give you 5 more seconds. All right, I'm going to go ahead and lock the screen, and we're going to move to the next question. Based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that communism is the ideal economic system for your country. Right? Now we're going to lock those screens. We'll move to the next one. Based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that socialism is the ideal economic system for your country. Three more seconds. Okay, I'm going to lock the screens. And the last one, based on how you feel or what you know, please indicate whether you agree or disagree that capitalism is the ideal economic system for your country. 3 more seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and lock screens. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to show you, we'll go back and look at our results. So let me go back to that first question, and then we're going to compare our results to the survey at large. So here was this was for fascism, and most people strongly disagreed, with 2 people agreeing. So maybe it depends on who that fascist is or what they believe, and if it aligns with your beliefs. Here's the second question, our responses. This was for communism, and 25 people disagreed, 8 disagreed, with 1 agreeing. So most people disagreeing of one sort or the other. And this was for socialism. Here we see a little shift. We see still the majority disagree or strongly disagreeing, with a few more agreeing and 1 strongly agreeing. And here is capitalism. And we see the majority agreeing, with some strongly agreeing, and a few disagreeing and strongly disagreeing. So how did this shake out with other people? So first of all, what you see here along the bottom are, let me move my mouse so the little bar will move. You see 4 different countries: Canada, the United States, Australia, and the United Kingdom. And the darker blue represents all ages, everybody who responded to the survey. And the lighter blue is just 18 to 24-year-olds. And so this was support for capitalism. What do you notice? What trend do you see? You can either raise your hand or you can type it in the chat. What trend do you notice here? Young people are not that liberal, somebody said. Reduced support for capitalism among younger people. Younger people don't support capitalism the same as older generations. Good. That's exactly what we see, that overall, except for the United Kingdom, the support for capitalism is lower among 18 to 24-year-olds than it is for the population at large. Here was support for socialism. Now, in this case, all ages is the lighter orange on the left, and the darker orange on the right is 18 to 24-year-olds. And again, what you notice is stronger support for socialism among younger people than the population at large. This is support for socialism by all age groups. So you have, again, the 4 countries, and in order, starting with the left, the lightest orange are the youngest people. These are 18 to 24-year-olds. The next is 25 to 34-year-olds. The little bit darker orange is 35 to 54, and the darkest red orange color is a 55 plus. Tell me what you see here. Somebody said North America has stronger support for capitalism. Okay. What else do you notice? Oh, Thomas said OPM, other people's money, is the strongest addictive drug in the world. I like that, OPM. Younger people think they want socialism, somebody says. What else? I was surprised by how many supported socialism over 55. Yeah, we still see 38% in Canada, 19% in the United States, 30% in Australia, and 36% in the United Kingdom. That's still a significant percentage. But we're looking at over 50% when we get to 18 to 24-year-olds. If we had to describe this as a trend, what do you see? Wendy says, I would love to see how they define these systems. We're going to get there. We're going there next. And somebody asked earlier, can we use these slides in the classroom? You're going to get all of these slides. So yes. The trend moves away from supporting socialism the older that people get. Thank you, Rachel. That's exactly right. Okay, so this is support for communism. I thought this was really interesting as well. And So just take a minute to take this in. This is 18 to 24-year-olds on the left, 25 to 34-year-olds in the middle, and on the right, the lightest orange, you see all ages. And here, when we group 18 to 24 and 25 to 34-year-olds together, that's those for young people, even this isn't socialism, this is for communism. We see, those are pretty significant numbers. It's not a majority, but maybe higher than some of you might expect it. It was definitely higher than what I expected. So just showing it in a little bit different and from an American perspective, a couple takeaways. There was an equal amount, 4 in 10 Americans agree and disagree a shift to socialism would improve the US economy and well-being of its citizens. So it was exactly equal. The number, so if we said, would switching to socialism improve the economy or make it worse? 40% said improve, 40% said make it worse, and 20% said, I don't know. So that was quite a divide. So what do people mean when they say socialism? What are they talking about? To start, let's go ahead and ask you that question. How do you define socialism? So go back to your Pear Deck slide on your phone or your computer and enter your definition of socialism. When you think and hear socialism, what do you think of? Start showing as soon as you start typing, it shows up, so you don't have to click submit or anything. They are anonymous, so don't worry about being embarrassed if you don't like your answer. So I'm just going to scroll through some of these so you can see some of the responses. Central control of most resources, less freedom of choice, higher taxes to pay for the collective good. When the government provides citizens with necessities. Socialism is an economic system which the government controls major industries and factors of production. Similar one on that one. They also control capital and labor and wages. Let's see, medicine. When we talk about what government controls, this one includes medicine, transportation, energy. Simplifying it to government-funded programs like medical, education, and housing. Interesting. Government increasing progressive taxes, so they address to produce how to produce, what to produce, and for whom to produce, instead of business people. Government providing, good. Democracy, mixed economy, using tax money to attempt the correction of perceived social inequities. It's where the government controls most of the resources and redistribution of wealth, usually from higher earners to lower earners. Socialism is helping the needy. Semi-nationalization or government takeover of specific industries, but leaving the rest of the economy and economic activity in private hands. Let's see if any of these stand out as very different. A philosophical theory where government uses significant taxation to provide services with the difficult goal of probably ensuring equality. I'm thinking of Scandinavian countries. I'm glad somebody mentioned that. We will talk about some of those today. The government provides basic services like healthcare, education, and the ability for free enterprise is diminished. All right, thank you for sharing those responses. So Ken and I had to come up with kind of what we thought of when we thought of a traditional definition of socialism. And like many of your answers, some of yours were very traditional as well, the kind of definitions we saw in textbooks as we were growing up and learning about socialism. And this is this scenario where the state controls resources and makes decisions about production and equitable distribution. But what was discovered in this survey was that when people talk about socialism today, they either mean that the government is providing more government services, like many of you mentioned, education, healthcare, transportation, things like that. Or they mean that the government is providing some sort of guaranteed annual income, or third, a combination of both of those things. And so many of you also mentioned like that when you think of socialism today, that you think of the government providing more services, providing some maybe basic income for people. So how does that exactly break down? How many people said that socialism is some sort of providing more government services? And these are broken down by age groups. Again, 18 to 34 on the left, 34 to 35 to 54 in the middle, and 55 plus on the right. And what you should notice here is that a majority, 50% or higher of all of those age groups in Canada, the US, Australia, and the United Kingdom, all when they were talking about socialism, felt that it was the government providing more services. Guaranteed annual income was a little bit less, but still usually over 50%, except in the United States by 55 plus people. They hold a more traditional definition of socialism. So this is a guaranteed annual income. And this is all ages across all the countries. Traditional socialism on the left. So what definition do they hold? The lowest percentage of people in all 4 countries, when they thought of socialism, thought of a traditional definition of socialism like we grew up with in textbooks and were probably taught, like many of us. So the definition of socialism, you know, whether or not we like it, the way it is used has changed over time. And today, people don't think of, you know, when we think of socialism as this strict government kind of nationalization of certain programs and allocating and controlling the distribution. Today, it's a different definition that includes just the government providing more services for people and or a guaranteed annual income. Nearly 6 in 10 Americans feel greater emphasis on socialism in the US would mean more government social programs, and nearly half believe it would mean guaranteed incomes for everybody. So the other thing the survey looked at was, how do we pay for socialism? And you know, how does the government pay for anything? They collect tax revenue, and those taxes then are that's revenue for governments. And so let's go ahead and have you answer some of the questions that were asked in the survey regarding taxes. Assuming that socialism means more social services are provided by government, along with cash payments to support lower and middle income individuals and families, do you support or oppose the following measure? A wealth tax that would be imposed on the top 1% of high income citizens. And lock in your answer. A wealth tax on the top 1%. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and lock screens. How about an income tax, assuming that same definition of socialism? We're talking about more social services and some cash payments to support lower income individuals and families. How would you rate your support of income taxes being increased substantially on the top 10% of citizens? Strongly agree, agree, disagree, or strongly disagree? All right, I'm going to go ahead and lock screens. How about higher income taxes imposed on all citizens except for lower income individuals and families? Higher income taxes on all citizens except for lower income individuals and families. I'm going to go ahead and lock screens. And the last one, a 20% national sales tax introduced, but with exemptions for lower income workers. Right? I'm gonna go ahead and lock screens there. And let's take a look first at your responses. So this was the first one, the tax on the top 1%. And the majority or most common answer was strongly agree. But altogether, 25 of the responses out of, I think we had 34 on this one, 25 of the 34 were agree or strongly disagree, with only a few disagreeing or strongly disagreeing. This was your support for a tax increase on the top 10%. And here it's kind of even across the board, but we do have 18 agreeing or strongly agreeing and 15 disagreeing or strongly disagreeing. This was a tax increase on everybody with exemptions for the low income, and most people disagreed with this. We have 26 people disagreeing or strongly disagreeing, with only 10 people agreeing of some sort. And this was a 20% national sales tax. This is the least popular. We have 27 people disagreeing or strongly disagreeing, with only 9 people agreeing. Here's the results when the survey was given at large. The wealth tax on the top 1%. And so this shows each of the taxes by country. So Canada is on the far left in dark blue. The United States is the light blue. Australia is the bright green. And then the teal green is the United Kingdom. And you can see that 2/3, in all countries, a wealth tax on the top 1% was very popular. But a higher personal income tax on the top 10%, not as popular, but still over 50% in all countries. Higher personal income tax on most citizens, not very popular, 30s in the 30 percentages for all countries. Lowest in Canada. And the value added tax, or that's what they call it in many European or Canadian economies. That's what VAT stands for. We call it a national sales tax. That was the least popular, but notice it was the least of all least popular is with Canada, because they already have a national sales tax. So maybe, they realize we don't want that to be any higher. So this was interesting, that comparing all respondents versus just supporters of socialism. And this was with regards to the value added or the national sales tax. And what you notice is that supporters of socialism in the dark orange color, the darkest color, is higher than all respondents. And so at least the people who said, I support socialism, also said, and I'm willing to pay for it, were more likely to say, I'm willing to pay for it with higher taxes. So 2/3 of Americans supported a wealth tax on the top 1%, and over half supported an income tax on the top 10%, an in tax increase. This is in line with other polls that we've seen. For example, here was a national poll that showed support for daycare, pharmacare, and dental care plummeted when you said, would you support it with a tax increase? So just asking people, would you support government's, funded daycare? 69% of people said yes. But when you said, and with that, would you support a higher tax for it? Its support dropped to 36%. When they asked about pharmacare, it was 79% said, yes, we support the government, providing more pharmaceutical care, but it dropped to 40% when that was tied with a higher tax increase. And dental care support dropped from 72% to 42%. And so what we see overall is that there is strong support for socialism among 18 to 34-year-olds. That the definition of socialism has changed from as to more government spending and more services or guaranteed annual income. And generally, people want somebody else to pay for it. They want it, but they want somebody else to pay for it. There's weak support for broad-based tax increases. So generally what we're seeing is they want what they perceive Sweden and Denmark to have. But what people don't realize is in Denmark and Sweden, even the middle class pay 55% income. They perceive themselves as in Sweden and Denmark, socialist for themselves. So, whoops, there we go. We don't need any of those. There we go. Okay, so I will put back up the slide to the curriculum and those kind of things a little bit later today. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and pass it over to Ken for our first topic, which is socialism defined and a little bit about Poland.